The news media blaming video games for violence is a tale almost as old as video games themselves. In fact, the news media blaming any popular form of entertainment for the violence that goes on in America actually predates video games, as they have been blaming countless forms of entertainment for decades at this point. First it was movies, then it was music, and now for the last 20 or so years, they've been blaming video games, despite the fact that the claim video games cause violence has been debunked and disproven time and time again. They've been a scapegoat ever since the late 90s whenever the topic of why the United States has such a massive gun violence problem gets brought up, but instead of actually trying to figure out what the root cause or causes of gun violence in America are, the news would much rather just pin the blame on video games and quickly move on. And the reason why I'm talking about this today is because with the recent murder of Charlie Kirk, ever since it came out that the suspected shooter was a young man in his 20s, Fox News is trying to place the blame on video games.
The presentation on some of these video games, the graphics packages have become so real. Does it I mean, you shoot people in a video game and it, even though it is not real, it seems real. Does that desensitize somebody who, might otherwise might turn to violence like this?
A strong link to video games, online video games. And I think something of the generation, these individuals are around 22 years old. This is something that is very common for them, gaming. And we see in the FBI and in many investigations, a lot of these people get involved in this fantasy world and they're in these video games, playing these games, and then it turns into a reality. And that, deciphering between the fantasy world and the reality, that is something that they will definitely be looking into from a behavioral analysis perspective.
Yeah, no freaking duh, a young 22-year-old man played video games. That's like what 99% of young guys in their 20s do. Like, this isn't new or groundbreaking information. They might as well just say breaking news, trees found in forest. Like, just because all these mass shooters just so happen to be playing violent video games, that does not mean that those games had anything to do as to why these people decided to commit these atrocious and horrific acts. Like, take me for example. I play violent video games all the time. I'm currently replaying Doom Eternal and I grew up playing Call of Duty, but you don't see me or the 99.9999% of other people who play violent video games go out and shoot people, because there is just no correlation. It has been proven countless times over the years. Yet every now and then, whenever there's a tragic shooting, these people on the news decide to regurgitate the same stupid lie. And I cannot stand it every time they do that, because not only is the claim just absurd, but it just distracts people from actually trying to figure out why America has such a huge gun violence problem. Like, let's say hypothetically video games were the actual root cause or one of the root causes of violence. We would have significantly more mass shootings than we already unfortunately do. Also too, we would see a significant increase in violence all throughout the world, especially other countries that play a lot of video games like China, Japan, and South Korea. But those countries and many more throughout the world do not have nearly as bad of a gun problem as we do here in the US. So I don't know why gun violence is such a big problem here in the US, or why mass shootings are unfortunately very commonplace here. Because again, it could be one sole factor or it could be a whole host of factors, but I know for a dang fact that one of those factors is not video games. I also find it incredibly stupid whenever video games or violent video games are called murder simulators, because that is not at all what they are. Shooting somebody in a video game and shooting somebody in real life is nowhere near the same thing, which is why I also find it even more ludicrous whenever they say that these mass shooters played these video games to hone their skills. Yeah, because moving your mouse, clicking WASD on your keyboard, and holding down left mouse to fire an assault rifle is the same thing as carrying an actual assault rifle and shooting someone in real life. And going off by that logic, does playing Mario Kart turn me into a professional race car driver? Does playing Minecraft turn me into a farmer? Doing something in a video game is vastly different from doing that same thing in real life. I can't just boot up Yakuza and then all of a sudden be a member of the Japanese mafia. I can't believe this same stupid narrative is still being spun in 2025. Like, I thought we left this back in 2018, but somehow it still finds a way to rear its ugly head every now and then. And I really hope that sometime in the foreseeable future, this lie gets put to rest once and for all, so that we can actually potentially find a solution to the gigantic issue that is all these mass shootings that unfortunately occur. I mean, literally today, as I'm recording the ending for this video on September 28th, we have had not one, not two, but 3 mass shootings all within the same day. And that is just insanity. Like, that should not be happening. We seriously need to do something about this. Yet for whatever reason, whenever there's a tragic shooting, all you ever hear from politicians is thoughts and prayers, which mean little to nothing if there is no action to back them up. The Bible literally says in the book of James chapter 2 verse 26, "For just as the body is dead without a spirit, so faith without works is also dead." Something needs to be done. And again, I don't know why all this massive gun violence happens in America or why it's such a huge problem, but I know for a fact video games are not to blame. They never were, and they never will be. And that's going to do it for the video. Thank you for watching, and yeah, peace.